Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
Hello.
Nice to meet you, both of you. I will start with the Tomorrowland intro. So the Tomorrowland podcast aims to delve into topics that resonate with both Love Tomorrow and Paradise City values. It serves as a medium to discuss issues vital to create a world we all want to live in, a world we love. This is exactly why the Studio of Podcast was invited, our matching DNA. The Studio of Life podcast, as in me, aims to create more empathy in each other's world in order to facilitate connection and nuance. So I want to welcome Dr. Inge Declercq, a renowned neurologist and certified sleep expert. So that can be useful today for the people who are already here 3 days on the site. And I also want to invite Olympe. And together we will talk about your personal experiences, Olympe, and the broader implications of your career on that. So today we will shed a light on how DJs can stay refreshed and maintain their health while spinning tracks into early hours. So I will start with you, Olympe. How do you feel at this specific moment? Because it's your second time on Tomorrowland?
It's my second time and I'm beyond excitement and also very grateful to be here. I feel like I'm at home here, so I'm very happy.
That's very nice. Could you describe also how do you feel at this exact moment? Because you're also traveling, you're living in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
but you have
it's
Italian
my first
roots.
gigs today.
Yeah.
So basically I start traveling from Thursday. So now that I have much more experience, I know how to manage sleep and relaxing. So now I feel completely fresh today, yes.
Could you maybe share some of the biggest challenges you faced during your early careers or your early days maybe when you had to cope with not so much sleep and also traveling as a DJ?
Yeah, well, the various time and also traveling a lot can affect your sleep. Also the jet lag, the late performances and the early flights that you have to take, then sometimes you can't sleep. So absolutely I meditate a lot and I do power naps when I can. And also try to eat very healthy, not drink caffeine. I quit completely. Now I drink matcha tea. So yeah, that's it.
Do you also feel, Olympe, that these kind of things really help you in order to perform better on stage?
Yeah, absolutely, because you don't have to compensate drinking things that makes you more adrenalinic and then you have a drop,
Oh, exactly.
So you have to try to maintain like a constant level of energy all the time and don't be like a wave of those kind of things. So yeah.
I have a certain image of the artist world that there's a lot of alcohol, also drugs and everything involved, for some of them at least. How do you experience that? Because you're also, as an artist, come in certain environments like other artists. How do you see that and how do you try to also stay yourself and not to be able to perform?
Well, absolutely, drugs is the worst thing you can do in the long term and also during the day because it's completely destroying your body. And also alcohol. I used to drink a bit more. Now I'm reducing everything at the minimum. And maybe just one kind of alcohol at a time and not mixing, because your body, after 1 year of traveling so much, you can feel in your body everything that you can take. So you have to be very precise in what you have every day. So yeah.
Was there a specific point where you noticed, okay, I have to change something about my rhythm of sleep, of well-being, to be able to perform? Because you also talked about your early days where you weren't like really aware of how to cope with certain sleep rhythms, like less sleep, high pressure environment, because you have to perform.
Yeah, I used to also to stay until the end of every festival. This is me, but now I'm realizing that I really have to keep every moment for resting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now I arrive right before my set and I leave after just to go to the hotel and relax.
Yeah. Okay. Miss Inge Declercq, how does sleep deprivation typically affect someone in a high energy late night profession like DJing without going into details on how to cope with them?
Yeah, definitely. And it's great to hear you say this, Olympe, because you're then perfect example that it is possible, because some people say, well, no, it's just impossible to fight against sleep deprivation, etc. But like research has shown that with every hour of sleep less, substance abuse goes up with 23%. So it's a bilateral relationship. Because you sleep less, you need more also. And then what else you see, of course, the sleep deprivation is really leading to a lot of mental health problems. You know, like suicidal thoughts would go up with almost 60%. So your mental health goes down, you feel not as good as you would like to. And then of course you need more substances, and then you get into that dopamine shoots, dopamine highs, dopamine lows. That's extremely bad for your creativity also. The less you sleep, the less you creative you are. Because REM sleep, for example, is really that part of the sleep that will really help you be creative. And that's what you need as a DJ also, or as an artist as a whole. Yeah,
Yeah, for the people who are not really known into the sleep world, what does an REM sleep mean?
REM sleep is for rapid eye movement sleep, and it's that part of the sleep that really ends a sleep cycle, and you have more of it by the end of the night. It's also typically the part of your sleep that you would dream in most. It's if you dream, well, everybody dreams. We dream in every sleep stage. We have deep sleep, light sleep, REM sleep, and the REM sleep dreams are usually the ones that you would remember, and that's the ones also very important for your emotional stability and emotional intelligence, for example. So REM sleep is really a very, very important part of your sleep. Yeah.
Olympe, in your experience, what are some of the most common misconceptions you professionals in the DJ sector have about sleep in general? Because I also can imagine that some DJs say, oh, Olympe, you just need to sleep 1 or 2 hours or take some power naps and it will all be fine.
No, exactly. And also that's another misconception is that after 3 days, maybe you can just sleep one day and you are recharged.
Exactly.
It doesn't happen like that. Like sometimes it takes 3 days to be completely aware of my mental health back, you know. So this is a thing. And also the other thing is that taking caffeine or stimulants or this kind of energy drink can compensate the fact that you're not sleeping. And as she was saying, is exactly the opposite. You feel even more far away the feeling of being rested, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it micro fragments your sleep also. You're getting pushed up with caffeine and energy drinks. You might not feel it is influencing your sleep, but it will fragmentate your sleep. So you will not have as much. You might sleep maybe 6 hours, but it won't even be as restorative sleep.
And when I'm tired and I'm drinking caffeine, it's even worse.
Yeah.
My body feel like it's
because it's
a push that it
exactly
it doesn't want it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you have a specific, you also mentioned a few routines already you have, Olympe? So for the meditation part and other things, do you have like specific things you maybe also follow? You have like a sleeping pattern before you go to sleep? Have you like a specific routine?
Yeah, before I go to sleep, I quit watching movies, for example, or staying in front of a LED screen. Now I'm listening to classical music because I think that my mind at some point has to relax before going to sleep. I avoid heavy meals also. Obviously, I quit caffeine, and I'm trying to relax.
That's of course easier said than done. In reality, does it happen often that you really are able to don't have heavy meals? You put off your screen in time. Is it possible for you to do that a lot of times?
Yeah. I mean, now that I'm strict, that I understand which are my patterns exactly. Now I'm doing it. So,
because sometimes I think you can also, for me, for example, if you have a show on Netflix you want to see and like, fuck it, let's just see the show and go sleep afterwards.
Yeah, no, but this is exactly because I'm a movie lover, and this is what I was doing before traveling so much. But then I realized that I was full of adrenaline and that I wasn't completely rested the morning after. And I really felt that just listening to music. Now I'm doing also brainwave. I don't know if you heard of it.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
That is trying to heal my body and relax.
Yeah. can help.
Yeah, maybe for you, Inge, could you elaborate more on the importance of having like a sleep routine, following certain steps before you go to sleep?
Yeah, definitely. Sleeping is a 24-hour business, and meaning that everything you do during the day will influence how you sleep. And so if you're high on adrenaline or on dopamine all day long, it is logical that your sleep will not be as well. So it's basically also about a lot of little things, little steps you might undertake to put into your daily life. Even getting up, the way you get up might influence how you will sleep the next night. So if you get up, you take some coffee, you do a little bit of meditation, or just brush your teeth mindfully, for example, that's a good start of the day, because then you will push your energy in a good way. And of course, have a healthy breakfast and a lot of daylight. So doing these things during the day, and these are sometimes small steps that you can just incorporate in your daily life, even if it's hectic from time to time. And of course, an evening routine is a very important one, because your brain is made to sleep. We're all kind of made to sleep, and it's like we have this central clock in our brain which will program us to be awake during the day and then neurobiologically be asleep during the night. But the point is, if you don't tell your brain in the evening hours that it's time to go to sleep, that it will not, it will be full of adrenaline and cortisol and all these activating neurotransmitters. So even if you have a late set and you'll be really going on late, and then sometimes less is more. Let's say you only have like 5 hours of sleep, or even more, even 4 hours of sleep, then please, it's very important to take care of just winding down. And as you say, you meditate, do some yoga, or do some relaxing breathing, or it's just something that really helps your brain to understand, okay, now it's time to go to sleep. And then maybe you only sleep 4 hours, but at least that will be 4 qualitative hours. And that makes you at least less sleep deprived and doing so. Just get into the bed and be all hyped, because definitely then it's less sleep and it's not qualitative sleep as well. So then you're double jacked.
And how would you say, like, if you do this on the long term, so if you don't respect your sleep, how will it affect you as a person, and more specifically for an artist as Olympe?
Well, it's true that having regular changes in sleep-wake cycle, like shift workers, jet laggers, we have a syndrome, it's something like a jet lag syndrome exists. It's really affecting mental health. Having a lot of sleep deprivation, we know in the long run, maybe sometimes you don't feel it immediately, but you also felt it already on your mental health. But in the long run, it's true, it raises your risk for chronic diseases such as cancer, autoimmune disease, and even neurodegenerative disease such as Alzheimer's. So it's also always about prevention, and it's okay to have from time to time short nights, be in the festival, have fun, give it all. But it's true, if you're sleep deprived, you'll have to catch up with sleep deprivation afterwards, and do that sleep in and sleep more and do sleep extension and really take care of those nights that you can't sleep. And then you can kind of, neutralize the effects.
From your experience, Olympe, when you didn't respect your sleep, how did you feel during a set? Did you have like ever sometimes a set where you were like, oh, I should have done this differently, or like, I'm not having enough sleep?
I'm lucky because the moment that I press play, the adrenaline arrive and I'm into the vibe. So I never had this problem during my set, but after, for sure, like I was feeling not focused. I wasn't relying on my thoughts also, because now I know that I have to say, Laura, it's not completely you. You are tired. You need to sleep. So give some moments to yourself and to your brain to be back on to the real state, no? So yeah, I'm not focused, and I'm also sometimes you lose a bit of creativity. So yeah.
I can just add one thing to that, and it's good that you say that, because if you take substances to have the impression that you are more vibed something, actually, and a lot of people take a lot of chemicals, and I just read a news article also that there's a lot of chemicals circulating even here, even if there's a real concept about not having drugs. It's giving you a false impression of good vibes. Exactly, it's alienating yourself, and in the long run, it gives you the impression that you're not feeling well, that you're down, that you're not, you have this impression of being not the person you really want to be. You're like a little bit lost. You can't take decisions. So it's really getting yourself away from yourself. Definitely. Yeah.
And do you also have the feeling that your environment also respects your attitude towards sleep and DJing. For example, I can imagine a lot of people also around you also want to make money out of you. So I can also imagine that some people want to have like a crazy schedule before you because they also think about their own interests.
I mean, it's your decision, no?
Yeah.
So now that I know how I work, how much I need to rest, I'm just saying yes to what is good in my planned schedule. So yeah, it's about you. You have to know yourself.
You're
True
doing
that.
great. You're making great music.
Thank you.
Also, for you, I have a specific question, Inge. Do you have any, also maybe for the festival goers here, any specific sleep aids or tools that can help you? Certainly, also maybe during your work week, if you have non-traditional working hours like DJs, but also for people who are here for already like 3 days, do you have any tips that they can use to improve their quality?
Yeah, of course. It's, as I said, it's during the day where there's a gym next door. Be active. Be sure to be physically active.
Even if you have like a little less sleep than normal?
Well, you don't go into really intensive sport if you're really sleep deprived, because that is true. You're like in an inflammatory state. If you're very much sleep deprived, your body goes into kind of a state of inflammation. And of course, if you go really heavy sports on that time, that's probably not as good. But it doesn't. You walk around. You have the daylight. You're outside all the day. Of course, food is very important, as you said, also, Olympe. What you eat and when you eat is what we call the domain of the chrononutrition, is so extremely important, because it's keeping all these clocks we have in our body in balance, and keeping those clocks in balance is keeping your sleep and your energy in balance as well. So eating is very important. Yeah, cut down, ditch the blues, cut down on the smartphone use before going to bed. And for those who've been wandering around, just say enjoy, but know that when you come home, catch up with your sleep debt. Definitely, you have to. Yeah.
I have a fun question for you, Inge. If there was a sleep championship, what kind of bizarre events might DJs compete in? And what would be the ultimate sleep challenge?
Well, what's bizarre?
It's how you interpret it.
Let's start with the sleep challenge. Let's see, the first sleep challenge for DJs and everybody who's in the night clubbing world is take care of your own sleep. That's what you manage to do. And of course, I think you're a good example. And a lot of DJs really take care of their sleep. And so it means it's possible. So I think that's the first one. The other sleep challenge would be, for example, if you as a DJ could create music that would help people improve their REM sleep, for example. So if your music would be able to improve your REM sleep, I mean, there's a lot of studies about music, also music. There's a lot of things about music and sleep and immunology and stuff going on, which is a really interesting domain. But music that would improve REM sleep, so that you would improve people's creativity and emotional well-being, that would be really neat, I think. And then if you'd say, like, let's say a DJ battle, I just read an article about DJ Pitch, who is having a sickness with losing his eyesight. He's playing on Tomorrowland too, so he can't really see. So that's say, well, let's be have some some empathy with all, and a DJ battle where everybody is wearing sleep masks and doing sets on touch and listening to the audience and see who's getting the audience to move most, for example. That would be a nice one.
Nice. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Inge, you're also very busy with sleep. Do you also sometimes sleep about having sleep?
Do I sleep about what? Having sleep?
Yeah. Do you sometimes dream about having sleep?
Do I dream about having sleep? No, I have a lot of dreams. I love my dreams. I don't recall having slept no. I'm a good sleeper, generally speaking. Okay. And of course, everybody can have from time to time a bad night, so that's pretty much okay.
Olympe, if you would give like one tip for the festival goers here or DJs in general, what kind of tip would you give to help them improve their sleep?
As I said, take a moment between everything you have done in your day and go to sleep. Like, have at least 1 hour or 40 minutes where you really train your body to go to the state of sleeping.
Exactly.
Yeah, because for example, when I finish to play, I don't go directly to sleep. Like I take a moment to relax my body and my mind. I listen to classical music. I read a book, for example, and then I leave my body go into the dream state.
Okay, very
Yeah.
nice. Thank you. Inge, if you had to prescribe a dream list that promotes restful sleep, what top 3 songs would make the cut and why?
Well, let's just put it around first. As I said, everything you do during the day will influence how you sleep, and being active during the day is really something that's important to sleep well. So let's first start with having a good dance during the day. And I just listened to one of your latest releases, I Don't Want to Talk.
Yeah.
I'm so much into that. On parties sometimes I don't want to talk anymore, I just want to dance. So that would be a good one. Listen to that one during the day and have a lot of physical activity. And then it's true, she was talking about classical music, and I'm happy you say that because, for example, Gregorian chantings and other classical music has been proven to be really good on sleep. There's this, I don't know if you know Tom Middleton. I lost his DJ name, but he is kind of a sleep coach. He did some sleep training as well, and he's written sleep dreaming music. And there's one that recalls like ocean-like stuff. That's pretty neat. And every music that is tuned in 432 hertz is very sleep stimulating as well. So that would be
yeah, and this is how it's based classical music. So
exactly.
That's why I'm listening. Yeah.
Oh well, great. Yeah.
Olympe, I also have a question for you related to a dream playlist. If you could remix a lullaby into a club hit, a lullaby is a song that puts babies to sleep.
Okay.
So if you could remix a lullaby, so a song that puts babies to sleep, and into a club hit, which one would you choose, and why would you do, and how would you put it on to keep both babies and club goers happy?
I think I will mix Clair de Lune de Debussy.
Okay.
Oh, wow,
That
nice.
is one of my favorites, and I go to sleep with this track, so I feel like a baby.
And you can sleep like a baby.
You can sleep like a baby, exactly. So yeah, I would remix this one, and I think that do a remix for a festival could be insane. Actually, good idea.
Okay.
I will go to and
Let's
do
make
it
a
next
deal.
week. And
Yeah,
then
you're
make
here
the
next
deal.
week, right? So
Yeah.
I'll watch you on the Freedom Stage also next week, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
you will listen there.
Okay, perfect.
That's good. That's great. That's a great idea. I want to hear that one.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to thank you both for the interesting conversation.
Thank you so
Inge,
much.
for you
Thank
having
you.
the great feedback on how to improve your sleep, and also Olympe from your personal experiences as well. And I wish you the best of luck in on your set today at 2 or 3 o'clock. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
2.
2 o'clock. So,
Oh, wow.
and I'm going to end with a quote of Tomorrowland. So it's sleep today, love tomorrow, and unite forever.
Yay. We're in for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.